Hello everyone. My name is Sudip Kumar Sahu and I am the team lead of Android application development and web development in our startup RoboCian. As you know, this is the third day on Android application and development webinar. Before starting, I would like to say about our fundraising event that we are working on, and the payment links would be available in the link description below. Okay, so let's not wasting our time further. Let's begin our webinar. Well, all of you know what Android is. Android is a kernel-based operating system. As an operating system, you can have multiple applications based upon it, and no other app is the base application of a machine. Now, is it open source? Yes, it's open source. Any other user can take up the Android source code and modify it to make a customized application as in software operating software. Sorry. It is providing an UI for touchscreens. It would be having gestures such as pinching, zoom in, scrolling, and other such. It is very much used in market. 80% of the worldwide is using Android based applications and Android OS. Android UI. Android UI would be providing some specified features such as touch gestures. Here it would be having swiping, tapping, pinching, and virtual keyboard for characters, numbers, emojis, and furthermore added are GIFs and so on. It would be having support for Bluetooth, USB controller, and other peripheral devices. Android uses an Android software development kit or Android SDK. It would be providing these 5 features. It would be having developer tools. It would be providing a debugger, a monitor and editors where you can edit the code, monitors where you can monitor your workflow, and debugger where you can debug your code. Libraries. In libraries, you would be having maps and different variables like TV or smartwatches. Virtual devices such as emulators, it would be giving you a virtual look of how your application would be running. Documentation, all the documentations of each and every Android component and materials would be available on developers.android.com. It's the official website of Android, and would be having some sample codes. Android Studio. Android Studio is the official Android integration development environment. Well, I would be showing you the download link. Here you can go and download your latest Android Studio, and it will be having a lot of features which we will be discussing later in this video. Now coming back, Android Studio helps you develop, run, debug, test, and package your applications. Monitor and performance tools are provided so that you can know how smooth is your application and how smoothly it works on different devices. Virtual devices as emulators will show you a mock device where you could see the resolutions, the performance, and other features that you should be taking into consideration before testing your app, before launching your app during the test phase. A layout editor where you would be seeing the layout of each and every screen ratio. Android architecture is built upon these 5 layers. On the bottommost is your Linux kernel. It would be having the access of drivers. It would be giving you the security features, threading, and low level memory management. Hardware abstraction layer. Here everyone would be having a standard interfaces in which every device hardware, um, they would be having the capabilities of libraries such as camera, Bluetooth modules, and so on. Android runtime would be giving an specified instance of um, Android application runtime. Native and C++ libraries, they would be giving the access to the core Android packages. Java API framework, it would be giving some APIs that would be written in Java regarding on the view class hierarchy, a notification manager, activity manager, and content managers, system and user applications. Well, applications are no other application rather than the mm, original given Android applications such as SMS sender, camera, and so on. The user application can be based on their own customized UI and interfaces, and they can also use the system application. System application has no specified usage of its own rather than the core features, and the application that would be building, they can take up the system application usage. Right. Android application can have a more than one interactive screens. I'll be showing you how it is resembled. We would be using Java and XML files, Java for the backend coding and XML files for the UI. It would be using Android SDK to develop them, Android libraries, and Android application frameworks. All of this would be executed by Android runtime virtual machines, or the ART. Okay, before building and launching an application, these are the four things that we should be taking into consideration. First thing is the display. Display is the most important factor as the resolution of each and every devices are different. There are 4-inch displays, there are 5-inch, 5.5 inch, 6 inches, 7 inches. So basing on the display resolutions, you should be developing your app such that they are compatible with each and every screen ratios. Performance, the application that would be running should be smooth. It should not be lagging in any of the application switching or in any of the activities. Securities, the user data and the application code should be maintained with proper security and no leakage should be there. Compatibility, the compatibility is that it should be running on the previous devices. Suppose you are working on an application that is running on Android 9, make sure that your application also runs on Android 6, because till now there are people who haven't upgraded from 6 to 9 or 10 that is currently being in use. Well, there are four basic building blocks of Android applications. Though we'll be seeing into resources that will be having all of your data on how your XML files would be working. In components, we would be seeing furthermore manifest that would be arranging your data as in a small brief order and would be giving to the Android so that it would be knowing what your application is having. Build configuration, here you can have the build configuration of whatever libraries you are using, whatever your security features and API levels and rest. Well, talking about API levels, let me show you the API levels that are available. Okay, uh, starting from Android 1, here are all the API levels and the platform versions. Android 10 is the latest and is the API level 29. Not most of the users are having 29, but around 6 and 7 are like 100% usage in the market, because the upper platform levels are like using all those libraries including more features. So that's it in API levels. Okay, now in the app components, there are four types of components. One, activities that would be running your foreground. service that would be running on your background. Content providers, these would be used to receive data from one applications to other. Broadcast receivers, they would be broadcasting your data to each and every app. Like suppose you are shutting down your phone, it would be sending its data that it's been shut down to each and every application that is built. Now let's move into Android Studio. I have already started an application. After installation, let me tell you how we would be setting a new application. I recommend a good amount of specifications to be taken into consideration before using Android Studio. Go to File, go to New, go to New Project. There are multiple activities that would be available over here, but I would recommend that you use an empty activity so that you can customize your activity on your own basis. All the other activities are either depreciated or they would be tough to understand. I think if you start with the empty activity, it would be far better. Now you can give your application name, and the package name that we would be providing, it would be installed on that name in your device. Go to Java language. There are two languages that are available, that are Java and Kotlin. For now would be working on Java, and I recommend that you should be having a good understanding in Java OOPS concepts before starting Android Studio. And when you click on finish, the Android application would be running. Gradle file needs to be in sync. For that, I recommend that you have a proper net connection. If your sync is having any kind of issue, then either your net is not um, of a good speed, or else your Gradle is offline. To go make it online, go to File, Other Settings, go to Build Execution Development, Build Tools, Gradle. Here, if you are not having any offline option, then it's good. If you are having an offline option, then please reselect that, unselect that. My Gradle is, well, as you can see, it is synced, and we can right forward start working on applications. Okay, I see some people are having some doubts. Let's see. Well, for smooth application running, I recommend that you should have at least 4 GB of DDR4 RAM. Any other higher than it is quite appreciated. If you are having 12 gigs of RAM, I think it would be quite smooth. And I recommend having an SSD for better performance. And along with that, if you are using i5 5th gen above, then it's quite good. So for now, all good. Let me show you the different components that we were talking about. Going to Gradle script. This is the most crucial part of the Android application. It would be having the basic information of what compiler SDK version you would be using. That I'm using API level 29. The minimum API level that this application would be supported is 16. The targeted SDK level is 29. And the libraries that you would be importing from any GitHub sources or anywhere, you would be implementing over here. Use the keyword implementation for using the library. Here is your Gradle version. If you are having the latest Android Studio, the Gradle version would be 3.6.2. There is even an Gradle version 4 available. Those are in the beta stages. If you are using any application or sample code of that, I recommend you have an Android Studio of that level, or else downgrade your Gradle from here. I highly suggest that you don't mess up this Android uh, Gradle part, because it affects the entire application and you won't be able to test or debug your application in any way. So closing that and minimizing it, let's go to manifest. Yeah, in manifest you can see that it is giving an XML file format of your application. Each and every application would be having at least one activity, as we have talked, and it should be a launcher activity. There should be one launcher activity in every application. If you are putting more than one launcher activities, then there would be that n number of applications installed in your device, and all of them will be giving out the functionality as the code is mentioned. So I recommend, if you are changing your main activity from launcher activity to a normal activity, then please clear out the intern filter and the other activities which you would be using, and paste it into them. So going into resource folder, these are the four basic folders that would be available to you. You can customize and add your own data. Let's start with layout. Well, you should have a good internet connection to use this. Okay, in the latest Android Studio, you can see the features of, like, you can have your text only. You can directly code in your XML. If you are very good at it, then you can see those as in your blueprint format. If I am suppose, in case I am removing this text view, then you can see, as well as in the um, over here in the component tree you can see that it's also been erased. Sorry, my bad. Okay, so let's start off with some knowledge on activities. XML activities. Here you can see it's working on constant layout. There are different types of layout that are available in Android. The professionally mostly used is the linear layout, but for convenience we use relative layouts. Here the Android width and height are match parents. That means it would be matching your entire screen activity. As this is the base layout, it would be matching your entire screen length. Tools.context, it is referring to dot main activity. So the Java file that you would be having with that name, dot main activity dot Java, it would be connected to that. So this is your Java code. It would be extending app compact activity so that it would be working with the activity class, and by default on create function would be overridden. Here the send content view will be having the parameter that would be the main activity passed to it. So the application that you would be working will be set to this, sorry, the activity that you would be working will be set to this Java class. This R, it is all of the resources that are available in your application. Dot layout means the layout section will be taken into consideration. From the layout we would be using the activity main, which we have defined over here in the layout main. So I hope everything is clear till now. Okay, furthermore, going into resources, we would be seeing into values. The color fragmentations are given over here. If you are using color primary, the keyword color primary, then it would be giving you this color combination. It's in RGB format. Well, Android uses RGB format, even RGBA. A is the part where you can check for your opacity. So these are the three colors that I have predefined, that are predefined in Android. I haven't changed anything here. In strings it would be having your application name. This would be the application name that would be appearing under your icon. You can change it manually from here. So that's, yeah. And in styles you would be having these resources. I recommend you use no action bar, so that it won't be using an action bar or title bar that would be available on the top. I'll show you what changes are done. To work on action bar, I recommend that you use your own customized title bars. So let's run. Here there are, you can add your emulators over here. Since my laptop is not having a good specification, if your laptop is having a very good amount of specification, then only use emulators. Else use your devices, your Android devices, for running your applications, because the emulators would be taking a lot of processing, and the system you would be using would be crashed. So I have taken up my device. To use your device directly, go and please turn on your USB debugging option from developer options. It is available in every phone. uh, for further information, if you're unable to do it, please mention. I would be explaining how you would be opening your debugging option. So let's run. Here you can see the Gradle build is running. After this, it would be installing your APK. If you would be using SSD and higher gigs of RAM, then this Gradle build won't be taking too much of time. It would be done in like max to max 5 seconds. Alright, our application is running. Let's see. That's our application that is running. Well, we haven't defined anything in it. So let's go to main activity, and we would be making a text view. Height would be wrap content. Now we'll be giving the text. Let's say hello world. Now you see it's visible. So let's run it again. As you can see, it is also visible on my device. Now let's do some editing with it. Alright, let me explain my code first. Text view, there are different types of view that we can use in Android. Text view is the view in which you don't type in anything. It's just that you would be displaying your text, plain text. So for that I have used text view, and the width is match parent. That means the width of this view would be matching the screen size as the relative layout, as of relative layout. The layout height is wrap content, which means that the height of the text would be the height of this text view. So if you would be having multiple line text, then the height of the text view will be expanding as per of the number of lines. The center and parent defines that whether this component should be in the center of the parent or not. So it takes two values, true and false. I have passed in true. So for of relative layout, that is this entire screen, the text view is aligned itself to center. uh, okay, it's aligned itself to the center. Now for layout margin, I've given 10 dp. That means it would be having 10 pixels of distance from each sides, from top, bottom, right and left. dp is the basic parameter you should, not the parameter, measurement value that you should be giving. Like for example, you would be using 100 meters, that would be too much of a length. If you're using 10 dp, then it would be giving a specified precision that would be of this much. And let's run it, and you can see that in the earlier one, the hello world was attached to the left side. it won't be happening. As you can see, it has given up some space. Okay, now let me show you how to make another activity. Add another activity. Right click on app, new activity, choose empty activity. It would be given main2 activity, and it won't be a launcher activity. As I had said you, if you are checking this as launcher activity, then there would be two activities with the launcher properties and there would be two apps installed. So don't select this unless until this is your launcher activity, and there is, if there is a previous launcher activity, please go and delete it. So finish. It would be adding a new activity and the Gradle sync will be in progress. Oh, sorry, I have installed my application and be running. It is showing that activity main2 is not created, whereas it is created. So I would be just cleaning up my code. Well, in manifest you can see another activity is created of main activity 2, main2 activity I mean. Alright, the debugging part I'll show you later on. Okay, that was how activity is to be created. Let me show you one simple example of toast, which is a small message would be displayed. So for using toast, we would be making a new toast. It would be taking parameters such as this main activity and a text that is to be displayed, and the duration. After that we would be showing it, so dot show function is called. Anyways, let's launch this application and let me show you how the toast is working. You can see activity created was displayed right over here. That's the toast. If you are increasing its duration, it would be available for a longer period of time. You can see the activity created is visible for a longer period of time. Well, that's the simple application that we have developed. Soon we would be developing several lots of application, and I would be uploading a playlist that would be specifying how you would be using each and every components that would be using this Android Studio and Java. It would be helpful in your project work, and I hope we will meet again. So, is there any other doubt that I would be rectifying? Okay, I will be showing you this application once again, how it would be running. I would be closing this application and reopening it again. And here you can see the activity created toast is visible, and it's for the longer period of time rather than that. If you are having any other doubts or queries, you can type in the live chats right now. For that, I have told you that you should be having a Gradle compatibility. Here is your SDK version that I have been given, and it's of 29. Don't need any versions. No, it's not that it won't be running. You should be designing such that it would be compatible. There are few components which are only available from some for some specified API levels. So if you are using those API levels, make sure that most of your users are having all those API level. As suppose there is a component which is running on Android 7, it won't be running on Android 9 because it has depreciated. Or if a new component is added that would be running from Android 8 onwards, the people who are using less than that, they won't be able to use. So for that, if there are some components which are compatible, then you should also be having your minimum SDK level set so that your APIs are not depreciated or they are usable in your Android application. Any other doubts? So shall we? So for the internships, we would be providing the information soon. All right, there are some things that you should know for using the Android, and you are working on any components. You should go to androiddevelopers.com. It would be giving you over here on the site. You would be having all the detailed information of each and every component that Android has built within itself. And if you are using any other external libraries, then there is a procedure to use it. And even there are certification available for this Android associate developers. For that you need to be thorough with Android development and in Java. So is there any other doubts? So I hope you guys enjoyed this session. It was a good time with you. And those who have donated for this good cause, thank you very much. And I hope there will be further more donations available from you. Thank you. And we shall be closing this session. And remember, soon I will be available here with their playlist on Android Studio.